Welcome to another fabulous edition of Momentus. Today, I am your master of ceremonies, and we are in for a very big treat because people are filing in now. I just want to make sure everybody's set before we get started here. Chat. Chat is now open. We'd love to hear from you, where you're from. Please don't give out any specific details and dox yourself. We are so excited today because we're hanging out with Amy Bruni again. And if you've done any of the other Amy Bruni events with Momentus, you know that we're going to have some fun. We're going to get spooky and there's going to be shenanigans. That's all you can absolutely count on that with Amy. A few things before we get started and I get out of the way so we can get cooking. Make sure you have a book. If you haven't gotten her cookbook yet, Food to Die For, please go get it. We'll put links in the chat also if you haven't. Hopefully by now you've received the recipe and ingredients list that's been sent with every reminder for this event. We will also put that recipe here in the chat. And if you have any questions, use the Q&A box. This feed, as you can already tell, is going to be moving people from all over the world, all over the country, here in the States. And so we may not be able to see your questions because there's going to be a little waterfall of everyone excitedly hanging out. So use the Q&A button. If you have a meet and greet, stick around in this Zoom. After we conclude our cooking portion of the show, we will move on to the meet and greet. So we'll stick right here. Look at everybody. Yay, Galveston, New Hampshire, Omaha. Let's bring Amy in and get this party actually started. We have so much to do today. Amy, I feel like I'm doing an incantation to have you join us now. Amy, let's see. Are you with us, Amy? Oh, there she is, and she's drinking a mimosa.
Hi.
Starting off right. This feels like a Julia Child Saturday Night Live. Like, okay.
I'm here. I made it.
Hey, you're injured in here, which you're a trooper.
I am injured. I'm standing on one foot like a flamingo right now. I sprained my ankle, and I wish I had a good story to go with it, but I was literally just walking, and I was wearing wedges, and my ankle just hadn't even been drinking mimosas or anything. And I just hit the floor. It was really my daughter had to go and take Richard Estep, who's an EMT. He was in the middle of speaking, and she went in and very discreetly said, "My mom needs you." So he came upstairs to find me just laying on the floor.
Wow.
So it's been a very eventful weekend here in Liberty, Missouri, let me tell you.
Listen, like there's no better way to start this off than a little maiming and mayhem. It's great.
So if you see me do this every once in a while, it's me giving myself a rest, everyone. So anyways.
Perfect. Well, so we've got an amazing recipe. We'll put the link to the book in the chat here. Also, if you're using the chat feature, make sure you toggle it to everyone instead of just hosts and panelists if you want to talk to everybody. Sometimes people get that confused. But yeah, Amy, so tell us, what are we doing today? Like, what's this recipe all about? Why this recipe? What are we doing?
So we are making the crustless jack and red pepper quiche from the Hotel del Coronado in San Diego. I wanted to pick something kind of brunchy, just because it's Sunday morning-ish for some of us. And I also didn't want to make one of like the more historic recipes. Like I didn't want to subject you all to like Nutriloaf or something from Eastern State Penitentiary. So, most of the recipes are actually quite delicious, but there's a few curveballs in there that are more historic. So, but the Hotel Del is one of my favorite places. I've actually never been able to investigate there, but I've been there many times. It's beautiful. It's there. I want to say, and don't quote me on this, but I want to say there's anywhere from, I think there's less than 20 hotels that share that kind of that architectural style. They're all like old wooden hotels, like the Mount Washington is also one of them. And so I love them. That kind of stark white with like the red roof. It's just
And
beautiful.
you can smell it, like you can smell the construction, you can smell the wood. It's like very old.
Yeah, it's weird, especially if you get a good humid day. Like you're literally smelling the smells that people smelled there 100 years ago. So, but yeah, it's one of my favorite places. Very haunted. They don't embrace their hauntings as much as other places, but they don't completely hide it. But they don't let me investigate there. Have a
There's
strange
no
escape.
doubt. I've been a few times to the Dell, and you feel like you're being transported to another time. There's
Right, right. So it's a pretty easy recipe. It's a crustless quiche. I make so many quiches, so I love it. So yeah,
And
there you have.
you're mostly veggie, and so you're changing some things up about the way you're doing it today, right?
Yeah, so what we did is we got smoked tofurkey instead of smoked turkey. So
Yeah.
I always encourage people to modify recipes as they see fit, try new things. I always like to try the recipe first, the way it's written, unless I have dietary modifications, and then whatever you think needs to be changed the next time, go for it. So
So
this
we
is my
put
first ever cooking demonstration, everybody. So just to be clear, I mean, I did make Bloody Marys on our live stream the other night, but that doesn't count.
that's cooking, I think,
I
maybe.
think, I don't
Like
know.
this is cooking this, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to get started. So again, we put the link to the ingredients list and instructions there and the recipe in the chat. So if you want to follow along, Amy, you're going to take us through this a little bit, and we'll chat about. So use that Q&A box if you have any questions about the Dell or other
Anything.
content.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever you like. Use that Q&A box. But well, yeah, let's get started.
Yeah, just throw questions at me while I'm going and I'll kind of go through the recipe. But I do need to start here real quick like. All right, my friends. So here's the first thing we're gonna do. I'm one of those people who compulsively looks at the recipe like 9,000 times to make sure I'm doing it right. So don't mind me. The first thing you guys are gonna wanna do is you gotta preheat your oven to 350 degrees. I'm sure you've already done that. You're gonna grease the bottom of a 9x13 baking plate, right? This is a 9x13, by the way. We're just making it up as we go. We're gonna make a round quiche today. So I have greased the bottom of the pan with some olive oil. And we're gonna there's so much cheese in this recipe, y'all. So this calls for 6 cups of Monterey Jack cheese. And so you're gonna put half of that in the bottom of this guy right here, okay? Now here in Kansas City, they don't believe in Monterey Jack cheese. They have Colby Jack everywhere. So we have 6 cups of Colby Jack. So we're gonna put half of that on the bottom here. That is a lot of cheese. I might put a little bit less just because it does call for such a huge pan.
How dare you? But okay.
I know you're like, I am never coming over to your house for dinner, Amy. Omitting cheese. All right, so I'm gonna pack that in there pretty good. There we go. I'll show you, by the way. I don't have the camera from above like a real chef, but that's what it looks like. All right. So next up, we're gonna cook over a skillet. So I'm gonna like get that going behind me, and then you guys can chat with me while we cook some things. But 4 tablespoons of butter. Yes, you heard that right. 6 cups of cheese and 4 tablespoons of butter is what is going on here. So I'm gonna once again use this. Yes?
No, I don't want to comment. That's fine. Just keep going.
Just ask me a question while I do
Yes. So Don, I guess here is asking, what inspired you to create a spooky cookbook? Is it something you've always wanted to do?
Yes, actually. So, also this is not my own. So.
I'll let you do that first because me, myself, with some attention deficit issues would probably find it hard to multitask that right now.
What do you mean? I hear it. Melissa, you might have to come turn it on. My cooking assistant, Melissa Limecular, owner of the Belvoir Winery and Inn in Liberty, Missouri. Oh, fabulous. There we go. They burn very hot. So, okay. All right, so that's a very good question. So basically, I saw the Fall River Historical Society posted a photo of Lizzie Borden's meatloaf recipe. And it was like, I wasn't necessarily inspired by it because it looked kind of bad, but I just thought it was weird that that they still had her meatloaf recipe, and I wondered if anybody was actually gonna make it. And so I thought, maybe I'll give, you know, maybe some, like I'll have somebody try this. And so I had somebody try the recipe. It was very interesting. And then it got me to, like, I started wondering, like, does this mean that there are, you know, other recipes associated with haunted locations? And so I started collecting them, because I love the idea of food and smell and how that kind of transports you back in time. Like really, if you're eating Lizzie Borden's meatloaf and you make her recipe as written, you're tasting and smelling something that the Bordens actually tasted and experienced. You know, you're not looking at pictures of them, you're not looking at artifacts of them, you're literally doing something exactly like they did. And I just think that's really interesting. So
Interesting. I never considered the historical piece of that, which is like you're doing or consuming or creating something that someone else did. It's wild.
All right, my butter is melting. Here we go.
Only 4 tablespoons.
This quiche smells amazing when it's done. So one thing I do, I'm not doing it today, but I like to add garlic to this because I like to add garlic to everything. So if anyone's out there and has garlic and wants to add it, feel free because it works. All right, so we're gonna do, we have onion, we have, oh yeah, so we're gonna cook the onion and pepper. We're gonna cook the onion and the pepper in the 4 tablespoons of butter. This is nice and melted. You can also melt the butter beforehand if you want, but I did not do that.
Debbie says love is embodied in garlic, and I tend to agree with that statement.
I agree. I'm also one of those people that whatever a recipe calls for, I just added the peppers and the onions, by the way, to the melted butter. We're gonna drain some of that butter out, by the way, so you don't have to have all of it.
Okay, fine. You're just taking away all the less cheese, less butter, fine, whatever.
I know, I'm sorry.
Also, as a reminder, everyone here, you can watch this back afterwards, and if there's a part you missed or you get behind or something like that, you can always watch it later, and make your own quiche, make your own Hotel Del quiche. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna let that cook a moment while I drink.
Well, yeah. Every time you say the word butter, you have to drink. Melissa asks, what would you consider as probably one of the worst tasting recipes in the book? Because since some of them are historic.
Probably the hardtack, which is literally just like tasteless, bland crackers that were used in a number of ways. I believe in the book it's associated with the Old City Jail in St. Augustine, but it's also a recipe that a lot of sailors, like old like soldiers and stuff would use. It was just enough to keep you alive, basically, and it's just incredibly bland, and they last for months. So that's why they were used back then. So yeah, but pretty gnarly.
Delicious.
I mean, I know this sounds terrible, but if you have children and you want to like give them a little bit of a consequence, you could make them like Nutriloaf or hardtack for dinner.
Wow.
I'm adding more cheese secretly, by the way. You guys can't see this, but I just keep adding more cheese. I'm like, here, let's put more in. It's fine.
Yep. It's cooking right there.
So much cheese.
Debbie asks, would adding mushrooms disturb the fluid balance much? I've never thought about fluid balance.
If you added, there's a growling dishwasher in the background here.
Very haunting.
Look at your face. Oh, Melissa's like, no, it's okay. It's fine. It's just draining. Listen, this is a real operating kitchen.
Yeah,
this is not a TV studio.
The full experience,
okay?
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry. I would say mushrooms, if you want to add them, that's fine. Just drain the liquid.
Yeah.
You could I mean, the nice thing about quiche is it's very forgiving, and it's always great to put more vegetables in, you know?
Yeah.
So being mostly vegetarian, I eat fish occasionally. I make a lot of quiche. We get a lot of our protein from eggs.
Yeah.
So, and most of the time I don't even use a recipe. So. All right, that's still cooking. So what are we doing next? Oh yeah, we're gonna, so next, after, by the way, that was the garbage disposal and it turned on by itself.
Oh, okay.
I have to tell you, this weekend has been so bizarre in the ghost department that I don't even know where to begin. So I know I'm in a newish house right now, but I've spent the entire weekend in an Oddfellows asylum, and that's where I've been sleeping every night. And so it's been a little weird. It's one of the first times I've ever been scratched by something.
Oh my God.
I like got some crazy EVPs. So yeah, it's been a whiz banger of a weekend,
Yeah,
let
a
me
little
tell you.
action packed. And now things are turning on by themselves. Great.
Yeah.
Great.
So, anyways, well,
Um,
now, so
what's next?
what's next? Let's see. Well, while this happens, I'm going to start cracking eggs. I just want to make sure I don't overcook these. You just want to soften these vegetables. This butter looks divine. I don't really want to drain it. All right. So we're going to cook, or we're going to crack rather. How many eggs are we using? 8 eggs. All right, friends. So 1, 2. Melissa is pouring more Veuve Clicquot into my glass off camera. I hope everyone has a Melissa in their life.
Heroic. It's pure heroism.
I have to say it's funny because so there is actually a recipe from the Belvoir Winery, the Oddfellows Asylum, in the book. It's the Oddfellows apple pie. And so I met Jesse and Melissa and their lovely family years ago, right after Charlotte was born. It was one of my first cases when I came out of maternity leave. And I met them and I was like, so you guys are my age, you love to travel, and you own a haunted winery. And so I instantly was like, I have to become their friends.
Yep. Yeah.
So since then, we've gone on numerous vacations together. Our families have celebrated holidays together. Like, yeah, they're some of my favorite people. They're like family to me. So
It makes me think too, like, I wonder if we could ship wine to people and do like a haunted, like an investigation plus, like, what pairs well with this haunting here. Do a whole thing. Do a whole thing.
I think that would be great.
Yeah.
So I'm always trying to like abuse my connection to them in some way. So, all right, I think our veggies are less about that. So I'm gonna turn this off. And I'm gonna start beating up these eggs. Anybody got good questions while I do this?
Yeah. So Dawn asks, have you made all the recipes in the cookbook, and did you do any of the food styling for the photos are incredible.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So like you guys know, I don't really eat that much meat. And so my writing partner, Julie Tremaine, who actually wrote the Supernatural cookbook.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So she's fabulous. So she took on, we had to test every single recipe. So I tested all of the seafood and vegetarian recipes, and she did all the gnarly meat recipes. And I also let her do the cocktails. That was her like payment for doing all the meaty
Yeah,
stuff.
totally.
So I'm beating these eggs, as you guys can see. I'm sure you guys know how to do this. Some people like to really beat their eggs for quiches. I find that if you beat them too much, sometimes the quiche is like, it has that like really thick, like I don't love that. It's a very French style, to have that really thick kind of almost custardy feeling to it. So I just beat them with a whisk. So.
Yeah. Caitlin is asking, did you find out anything about the mystery man from the live stream in the basement?
Oh my gosh. So we did a live stream the other night for the Paranormal Circle members.
Yeah.
And there was a man who walked into the middle of it, who I'm pretty convinced was not a ghost. But he came in and he walked around a corner, and then John Tenney and I were like, who is this man? Because you're trying to be doing a live stream, you're hoping no one's gonna walk into the middle of it.
Yeah.
So we're like, who is this man? And we went where he went, and there was no way out that direction. So he either has a secret passageway, or we were so like in our moment that we neglected to see him exit a different way. But yeah, pretty crazy, I must say.
Spooky.
All right, so we don't have a whole heck of a lot of, so this is how my veggies look, by the way.
Okay. It's like slightly. Yeah.
There you go. There they are.
So they're like tender.
Yeah, nice. And so I'm gonna just kind of scoop them out so I don't have all of this butter. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna put the vegetables on top of your cheese. So we're gonna do that next. Very pretty. I think I'm doing this right? Yep, I am.
Make sure you check 20 more times.
Yep, that's what I'm doing. I told you guys that's what I do, even though I'm pretty aware of this recipe and we made it this morning. But, all right, here we go. Have any other fun questions for me while I arrange this?
Yep. So let's see here. We've got, how long does the quiche take, or is it supposed to take normally?
You're gonna cook it for 45 minutes once you're done with all this. If I wasn't talking to you guys, this would actually be pretty quick. It's a very easy, forgiving recipe. So, all right, so now I've got my veggies on top of my cheese. And so now, we have our eggs ready to go, right? So with our eggs now, we're going to, in a medium bowl, you're gonna combine the eggs, and you're also going to combine your milk, which is 1 3/4 cup milk, right here. Are you good? Hold on, Melissa's looking. All right, so we've got 1 3/4 cups milk and flour. So let me get the milk in there. I'm gonna just kind of whisk that in. Are people actually making this with me? That makes me very happy.
They are. Yes, I saw that Heather is making it. I saw another Heather is making it. Teresa's making it. Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is gonna go over the veggies. Thank you.
I'm definitely making it at the moment as well.
I can see that. Melissa's reminding me that I skipped a step.
What did you skip?
I did nothing important. I mean, I just did something a little out of order.
Okay.
So your turkey, you're gonna put that on top of your veggies. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So let me do that really quick. My turkey looks like this because it's smoked tofurkey.
Yep.
You're gonna put that on top of your vegetables. Yeah, tofurkey makes these like smoked turkey slices, and they're actually quite delicious. So, and I'm putting a little less in just because I'm not using the full 9 by 13 dish. So, but you guys do you. This would overflow if I put them all in. Ooh, this looks good, y'all. Isn't it nice that I'm just really impressed with my own recipe?
Yourself? Yes, that's so good.
Good job, Amy. You really picked a good one here.
This isn't good. It's a lesson about self-talk. It's like, wow, I am so impressed with myself right now.
I'm my own champion. All right, so this is what mine looks like, but yours will probably look different if you used actual smoked turkey. So, all right. Now I'm going to continue my egg adventure. So I am adding to these eggs the milk and the flour. So you have a 1/2 cup all-purpose flour. We're going to beat that in there. You could also make this crusty too. You could get a quiche crust if you guys wanted to. You know, it does not have to be crustless.
True, true.
I actually prefer my quiches with crust personally. All right, and we're going to add the herbs, which are very important. So the herbs are 2 tablespoons fresh chives, basil, tarragon, thyme, or oregano.
Delicious.
So you can basically pick and choose. You don't have to do all of those, but you need 2 tablespoons of herbs. So this is what we have here.
Alicia Gaynor asked what your favorite recipe for, if you have a favorite food and drink or drink from the book. I can.
Smells really good. Like overall or from the book?
From the book.
Sorry, I'm just like. My favorite, I have a few favorites. So from a dessert perspective, I love the Myrtle's bread pudding. It's croissant bread pudding.
Oh, it's so good.
It's made literally out of croissants. So like as if bread pudding wasn't sinful enough, make it out of croissants.
Yeah,
It
sure.
is so good. The Lighthouse Inn potatoes are ridiculously good.
Would they be?
And then I also, huh?
Would they be to die for? Would you say?
Yes, they're to die for. Sorry, I'm getting very. I did. You're just so full of dad jokes that
I'm sorry, it's bad. It's really bad today. It's like I have a flare up. It's bad.
Guys, Charlie and I had a Disneyland day with our children. It was very,
Yeah,
very fun.
that was a
But
blast.
the dad jokes they were strong.
They were strong.
Our children were constantly groaning. All right, here's my herbs. I'm gonna throw the herbs in there. Ooh, yummy. There they go.
Yeah, just to echo what you just said, the croissant bread pudding, I've had it at the Myrtles, and I didn't want to leave after I had it. I just wanted to live there.
Yeah.
And Heather says she's making it next week, so there you go.
See, it all works out.
All works out.
So if you guys are making, like, you know, quiche traditionally is in like a pie dish, but this recipe calls for it to be in a big baking dish. It makes enough for that. So like right now, I made the ingredients as though I was putting it in a 9 by 13 dish, which is fine. But if you're gonna make it in a smaller dish like this, you could probably like cut it into half or 2/3 and it'll be fine. So, all right. Thank you. Any more questions? I'm gonna stall this because I'm almost done.
Yeah.
And I'm not ready to.
Let me see. So yeah, and also mimosa time.
Yes, just give me more time to drink.
Actually, Caitlin asks, how long have you been veggie, and what prompted you to become vegetarian or move to a more meat-free diet?
That's a very good question. So I have been a vegetarian since I would say probably 16. And I actually, to be fair, I'm a pescatarian. I do eat fish. And I did have a brief stint where I did go back to eating meat twice, once in my 20s. And then when I was on the road with ghost hunters for a brief time, it was very hard to eat vegetarian back then. Now it's very easy. But it was because when I was younger, I lived on a farm and I did that whole 4-H thing. And I raised my own lamb to be auctioned. And I really, like, you know, it's hard not to be attached to an adorable little lamb. And that moment when I auctioned off my lamb and they tore it from me within 30 seconds at the local county fair traumatized me for life. And I was just like, nope. Even though, like, in retrospect, that lamb, like, probably had the best life, you know, leading up to that point, much better than probably a lot of other animals in, like, the meat industry. But that was just kind of what did it for me. And also, there's a lot of heart disease in my family, and red meat is, like, really bad for that. And so I kind of eat more of like a Mediterranean diet. So my vice is wine.
Yes, so, obviously, that's the balanced food group.
And cheese and peaches.
I believe in having a healthy lifestyle of cheese and butter and wine, personally.
Cheese and butter, that's what the Persians do. Exactly. It's working for them and baguettes.
That's well, actually, just this week there was something that came out about red meat and the link to dementia that just like popped up in the news.
Yeah, I suspect a lot of it has to do with what's in our meat now.
Yep.
You know, there's just a lot of stuff in food. There really is. So I'm like, I didn't really care until I had a child, and then I was like, oh, I have to pay attention to this now. I can't just live off of gas station food anymore.
That's right. Yes, gas station tacos and
oh, they're so good. So just so you guys know, this is what it looks like when it's all kind of, you know, there's your eggs and your milk and I will say the fattier the milk, the better the quiche. So I'm going to pour this over the top of this, okay? Yep. And take your time and shake it a little bit because sometimes it has to kind of find a little nook, you know, liquid has to settle in there. I might be able to get all of this into this pan, which would be amazing.
Tana asked, I have a few lumps. Is that okay?
Oh yeah, you do. That's fine. I have a few little lumps. It should be fine. I mean, as you cook it, it's gonna soak up, so you're good.
Got it.
I mean, Gordon Ramsay would hate us, but
he'd be screaming. Yeah.
He would be like, "What kind of quiche is this?" He's watching right now, yelling. He's throwing his computer across the room. Let me rinse my hands real quick.
Melissa asked, how is the absinthe frappe?
That's a very dangerous drink. I
Yeah.
will tell you, but delicious. So, um, but yeah, it is really, really good.
Yeah.
So now that we have put this all together, this is what it looks like. I'm gonna put it in the oven. Boop, boop. All right.
Nice.
So here we go. I'm putting that in here. Oh my God. But don't worry, we're pros around here.
That's right. Nothing but the most professional.
All right, so that'll be done at 1:15. But I have one done.
What?
So you guys can see what it looks like. Here. Did you already sprinkle parsley on top of this? Or... I'm gonna do it now.
Nice.
All right. So basically, once it's done, you take it out of the oven, which is what you do when your food is done. You take it out of the oven. And it looks like this.
Wow.
Some of these will be lighter because you'll have made it with Jack cheese alone, but this is with Colby Jack, which is just fine. I'm one of those people I like to play with quiche cheeses. I love putting like a nice Gouda in there sometimes. And then you sprinkle the parsley on top. This is my cooking voice, by the way. I always have an accent.
What accent is that, Amy?
I don't know. It just comes out. So there you guys have it.
Wow.
Charlotte, what accent do I do the most when I cook?
A weird one.
A weird one, she says. So there it is, you guys. Pretty, huh?
Queens.
And so when you're eating this, so the fun thing about this recipe, so this recipe actually came from the Hotel del Coronado cookbook. And this was served, I don't know if we mentioned this in here, but this was served at their 100th anniversary brunch.
Yeah.
And they made this for a bunch of like super fancy famous people. So that's where that came from. But I love it. I think it's delicious. I hope you guys will enjoy it as well. And if you guys didn't know, the Hotel Del, their famous ghost is Kate Morgan, who is a woman who nobody knew who she was. She checked into the hotel. She stayed there for like 5 days. And then she ended up shooting herself. And it turns out she was going through a bitter divorce and she was supposed to be meeting like her lover who never showed up. And so she ended up taking her own life and people started seeing her ghost almost immediately. So, yeah, so that's what that is. So let's answer a few questions.
Just some more questions. Heather asked a very important question. What about the rest of the cheese?
Oh, I'm just going to eat that by the handful.
Got it. All right. Great. That's why it's there. Well done.
I'm just going to shove that in my face right now.
Literally, like, the number of people who have asked this question now, there's like 5 people who are like, where's the rest of what? This cheese is alone. It needs help.
This cheese needs a friend. Don't worry. We will do something with this cheese.
No cheese left behind.
And by that,
Caitlin asked,
it's real good.
how long did it take to make all the recipes? Or how long did this process maybe take for the book in general, I guess, to do?
3 years.
Wow.
It was a 3-year process. So I pitched the book, and so basically this is all like, might maybe not be that interesting, but contractually, because my other book, I had to offer it to my first publisher, but they could not do full color printing. And so I took it to HarperCollins and they bought it like instantly.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget like our first meeting, putting together the book, the timeline they gave me. So after all that process and everything and the contracts and all the lawyer stuff, we sat down for our first meeting, and they're like, okay, this is coming out in, the end of July, 2024. And this was happening in 2022, these meetings. So to me, I was like, gosh, that just seems like a lot of time. But with everything involved, when it came to verifying our sources, citing everything, testing all the recipes, doing the photo shoot happened over a year ago in Nashville, Tennessee. That was like a whole studio shoot they did for 5 days. And they had to bring in like a chef, a food stylist, a photographer. So it actually snuck up really, really fast.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things like I feel like I've been telling people for years and they probably thought I was lying. I'm like, well, I'm making a cookbook. And they're like, yes, your
Yeah.
cookbook. That never seems to happen. So
The Phantom Cookbook. By the way, just for those of you that don't know, when a publisher puts out a book, when an author puts out a book, um, the ways that you can support that author are this. Buying the book, obviously, is number one. Number two, when you've gotten the book, go do a positive review because reviews help get more visibility, help get it into other people's like feeds and things. So if you haven't done a review yet, actually, I'll put the link to um, the Amazon listing because that doesn't work actually. Uh, because reviews will help shift it into a higher category and help Amy sell more books. So tell your friends to review the book.
yeah, I would love to get this to be a huge, because I want to do more. Like they're
Yeah,
already talking about doing an international version or maybe like a cocktail only version. But in order to do that, this one has to kill it. It
yeah,
has to truly be to die for.
yeah.
So, um, someone asked if they put the cheese on top. That's totally fine. Listen, you do you. I hope you guys post photos of these two when they come out of the oven so we can show the world that we all made quiche together and that we're all best friends now because
Yeah,
people who make quiche together stay together. So
that's
spooky
great.
quiche.
Yeesh. Yeesh. I didn't think I would hear that phrase today, but here we are. Uh, yeah, definitely post photos. And then Jennifer asked again about the herbs that you used in your quiche. That there are other options in the recipe. Do you have a preference?
We did like a little mixture. So let me see here. I had the parsley on top. Let me look up again I closed the book. Like we put, there were definitely, oh, there was chives, oregano, and basil in ours. So, um, but like I said, I'm a basil whore. So like,
Another phrase I didn't hear today.
I love
Oh, God.
basil. So I will sometimes just put basil. So
This is the pull quote for the whole event. Thank you. That's great.
please
Five
make a
stars on
t-shirt.
Yelp.
I love it. Basil and garlic together are like it's just like my dream combination. So,
Amazing. Um, we've got a ghost hunting question too. Taking us back to Kindred Spirits for a moment. When you were recording Kindred Spirits, Dave asked, why aren't there efforts to move the spirits along? He's seen some paranormal professionals attempt to do that. Was that a part of the process?
that's a great question. I actually have a whole chapter of this in my first book, Life with the Afterlife,
Yeah.
13 Truths I Learned About Ghosts. So just this is like the Cliff Notes version. So as someone who's been investigating now for 20 years, a very long time, so I have found too many cases where people have said, oh, we passed on this spirit, we helped this spirit along, or we moved this person on, and then I come back and that ghost is still very much there, and sometimes a little angry because they feel like they've been dismissed a little bit. And so for me personally, and this is just my viewpoint, kind of along those lines, I can barely prove a ghost exists.
Yeah.
So how dare I come in and try to tell a ghost what they need to do? I feel very, very passionately about this. Like, I have found that many ghosts, in my estimation, are here because of unfinished business of some sort. So if they are very aggressively trying to get a hold of you, or get a message through to you, or turn on the garbage disposal when you're cooking, that they actually that they need help with something. And so my version of like crossing spirits over is trying to figure out who they are, give them a name, figure out what it is that they want, see if there's anything I can do for them. And it's a lot more work than just going in and being like, go to the light, Carol Ann. So that's kind of, that's my version of crossing spirits over. So yeah, I highly recommend that you kind of dig deeper and read that chapter in the book, because like I said, I am super passionate about it. And sometimes trying to cross spirits over can actually cause activity to get worse in a location.
So interesting. I mean, it again, and I don't know why we do this. We consider ourselves separate from that world, right? We like make it an other
Uh-huh.
or different. But with anyone that you would meet in distress, jumping in and trying to fix something before you knew what was going on, or trying to interject yourself into it, like they wouldn't necessarily take to that. That wouldn't necessarily be what they need. Like,
Right, right. It's just kind of like telling them to go away,
yeah,
as
yeah,
opposed,
like
you know.
toxic positivity or something.
Right. I think a lot of that was started by Hans Holzer and then some like early mediums and stuff. And a lot of mediums will come in and say that's what needs to be done,
Yeah,
but there's really no way to quantify that. Like you're just taking them at their word. There's no way that they can prove that that's what needs to be done. And so what
yeah,
I found is just through evidence and research that there's actually a little bit more to it, I believe. But that's just me. Everyone, you do you. So.
yeah, totally. Um, we also have a question for the Paranormal Circle group. For those of you that don't know, Paranormal Circle is a really cool subscription service that Amy started. It's very popular. Oh my God. The Facebook group is like growing and growing. It's just, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, would you ever consider doing a dinner party and doing like a themed feast? One of the themed feasts from the cookbook. That would be awesome.
I think that would be really fun. I would have to like look into the logistics of that.
Yeah.
I actually considered, so we almost did like a super VIP event here at the winery one year at Christmas. It was going to be like Ghost of Christmas Past, where it was like a formal dinner kind of thing. Um, and I think it would be fun to do something like that. Like everybody dressed in like
Yeah.
cool, like Victorian clothes and stuff, have this like big, fabulous ghost feast, and then investigate afterwards and see what happens.
Awesome.
But these are the things that go through my head all the time. So,
I know. I know how your brain is like, what if? And then it becomes like, yeah, okay.
yeah.
And also, yes, fun. Let's figure out ways to do more of these, obviously.
Yes,
And
I'm gonna
also,
sit for one.
just yeah, please. If anyone also just as a heads up from the stands, the shop stands side of things, um, pins and book plates are coming soon. Um, not to worry. Uh,
It's my fault. I just have been on the road so much, I'd have to finish signing all the book plates.
the
But I
pins are
love you
really
guys, and they will be.
the pins are so adorable. They're amazing, and we can't wait to get those out. But yeah,
They are cute. I meant to wear my apron, but I left it at home on accident. There's a Food to Die For apron
yes,
on shop stands that is like cutest thing ever. It's very well made, and I wear it at home all the time, and I just completely forgot to pack it.
yeah,
So
and and I love the quality of that apron too. It's really great.
it's so good. It's like something from like Williams Sonoma, honestly.
For
It's
sure,
like that
for sure.
level.
Let's see. We'll do a couple more questions, and then we're gonna have to move on to the meet and greet. I know Amy, you have some more events going on over there, and
Yeah,
obviously,
I'm going directly to, I went from a brunch to here to now I have to go lecture
wow.
after all these mimosas with you guys. Oh, someone's wearing their, oh, I love it.
Wait, what? Someone's wearing it?
Someone's wearing their apron while they cook. So
Wait,
you're gonna have to post a
can we
picture on
bring
the
them? Could
socials.
we
Quiche.
maybe bring them in? We like I would love
It's
to see it.
Tara Wood. Tara, do you want to be on camera? We'll show everybody the cute little.
The little ghosts.
If she says, she's like, I didn't know.
Yeah, Tara, if you're up for it, we'd love to see it, and we'd love to see if you guys have finished it too. Take photos and tag Amy, obviously. She said sure. Should we see what that thing? Should we
Oh
see what
yeah, let's see how Tara looks in her beautiful apron.
apron?
I
Yeah,
love
let's do it. All right, let me bring her right here. And then we'll be moving on to meet and greet. So just our meet and greeters, just hang tight when we get to that portion. Tara's being added now.
that.
And there she is. Let's see if I can get her to start a video. And then, boom.
You can go farther away to the holes.
Hey!
Cute.
You're still muted. Let me get you unmuted here.
Oh wait, I don't see her. I want to see her.
Let's see. Oh, wait, sometimes.
Oh, there she is. Oh, cute. Sorry, I was looking at the chat. Oh, I love it.
That's awesome.
Angle it down a little bit so we can.
There it is.
Oh, there it is. Food to Die For. I love it so much.
It's so cute.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Tara.
Cheers to you.
Well,
Nice
thank you, Amy. This has been awesome.
Thank you so much, you guys. If you guys want to do more cooking classes, let me know. This was a blast.
Yeah,
And
people
I
have
get to
asked
eat
if you're going to
quiche
do more.
after. Yeah, definitely. I think that'd be super fun.
Super.
I think maybe next time we make the alcatraz sugar cookies.
Yes, those would be amazing, and a cocktail too. I feel like a cocktail would be a lot of fun
Oh
too.
yeah. Well then we'll figure it out. Something amazing.
Amazing. Well, thank you, everybody. We're going to move on to the meet and greet
Thank you,
portion of
everyone.
the ticket. Thank you. And thank you, Amy. And thank you to our captioner who is going to stick around for the meet and greet as well. But thank you, everybody.
Yeah,
And
and please don't forget to post photos of your quiche unless it looks terrible. Don't do it. Just kidding.
wait a second. Like, please stop promoting my book. That looks really, that's
I
amazing.
still can't believe the garbage disposal came on by
What
itself.
is
I'm really
happening over
bothered.
there?
This is like shaking her head at me, like, what the F? You're never coming over
Yeah.
here again. All
Post
right,
your pic.
just I'm gonna post it on the socials. Sorry, I'm gonna stop blinking. I'm gonna let you do your job, Charlie.
No,
Sorry, I
no,
stopped blinking.
I think there's a little delay too. So then I'm like, have you shouldn't have, okay, yep.
Sorry.
I'm doing great. I am the garbage disposal in this case. All right, thank you, everybody.